This is Ren Man. I'm back. And I just want to talk about this subject right here. I thought it interesting, like music. Like me personally, I grew up in the 80s, and me, growing up listening to rap music. Basically, hardcore rap, hip hop. Like I try to separate the hardcore rap from hip hop. Like, cause back in the I know the 80s, late 80s, I know one of my favorite groups was NWA. You know, those were my favorite groups. And I call them more so of hardcore rap. Then the 90s was my year in the music industry as far as rap music, the 90s. And also R&B too. R&B rap. That was that was what I listened to back then. And also like this new rap that's out now, it can't compare to none of the 80s and 90s rap. Even the 2000 rap, it can't compare to. Um, like the 90s, it's like rap was almost, it was at like its height as far as like great music that's basically gonna last a lifetime. Basically, you had songs that's to this day you can listen to. I mean, some of my favorite groups. I say, okay, I mentioned NWA. Okay, mention um, okay, some I'll say go to the 90s, like Bone Thugs and Harmony, uh, Do or Die. Then from the No Limit and Cash Money era, like well, Cash Money was out before No Limit was actually in New Orleans. That's the thing too. Some people don't realize, but Cash Money had great music, legendary record label like that. Cash Money from back then, and the Cash Money I say from about around about 2000. No, I say about 1999. Uh, Cause one, well, I'd say two of my favorite artists on Cash Money was always BG and Juvenile. They're my favorite too. And when it came to No Limit, one of my favorite artists was always C Murder. C Murder was straight gutter, raw, uncut. Of course, he lived, his lyrics just like Soulja Slim. Them two was two of my favorites. I mean, they could rap. They was they gangster lyricists. you know. But then you had Mac, who was the most lyrical of all. Like Mac could go up against anyone lyrically. Like I think Mac was like the down south Nas. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Mac. You had Mystical, Fiend. Yeah, Fiend was very lyrical too. Um, but yeah, I like a lot of artists on. I mean, No Limit, Cash Money. Like they made history in the industry back in the late '90s. Like they opened the doors, well, blew the doors off of it. Then take it to the West Coast. I loved a lot of West Coast music, that hardcore gangster rap back then. You had your West Side Connections. You had Ice Cube, Rabbit Solo. Man, what else? We could, of course, Easy E. We did a solo thing. Dr. Dre. That Chronic album is gonna still go down as one of the best rap albums of all times. That Chronic, the first one, man, you can listen to that the whole album without skipping. Um, then yet, yeah, who is that I'm thinking about? NW, I mean not NWA, but MC8. MC8, he was one of my favorites too on the West Coast. Yeah, he had a style, like a style that was different from a lot of other rappers on the West Coast. But yeah, I used to bump MC8 all the time. I like the DJ Quick too. DJ Quick, he had that, he had a nice flow. Plus, also, he made his own beats. He put that jazz up in there, and man, Sugar Free. I like Sugar Free. Talk that pimp shit. He had a style of his own too. Man, West Coast. Man, they had the game on lock back in, I think it was like around about the 90s, early 90s to start getting to the mid 90s. They had that gangster rap on lock. Yeah, I like some of the East Coast music too. It's just like some of the beats and stuff I didn't really care for too much. Like, I really think the people who had the best beats was the West Coast rappers and the Southern rappers. When you come to like your Nas, he was very lyrical. Like, but I know on some of his albums, a lot of beats I didn't really like of his, but he was very lyrical. One of my favorite songs I know he made that, you can still listen to this day. Okay, of course, If I Rule the World with Lauryn Hill, and also One Mic. I love that song, One Mic, and he was very, very creative when he did that. Like, very lyrical. Thought out the box on that song. But I say one of my favorite ones from the East Coast was always AZ. AZ had a style. He could flow. Yeah, he was like one of my favorite lyricists on that West Coast. On the East Coast was AZ. Then of course Biggie, very lyrical. He had a style of one of his own. He died too soon when he blew up. And also, of course, Pac on the on the East Coast. on the West Coast. Pac, one of the greatest of all times. Not just because how his lyricism was, because his concept, the way he rapped about, and really made people think. And he just had that style like that. He could rap about just about anything. And Pac still gonna go down as one of the best lyricists. Well, I say one of the best rappers of all time. See, rappers can be very lyrical, but if they ain't got good concepts of the songs to make and all that type of stuff, then that overshadows their lyricists. But yeah, I just wanted to shoot that quick video about me growing up, listening to rap music. I ain't talking about R&B on this one, but I'm gonna get to the R&B stage, R&B phase. But yeah, all right, I'm out.